You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new. Okay, Hotep, Pan-African Daily TV community. I hope you can hear me out there. I hope I'm loud and clear. We are live tonight on the Pan-African Daily TV after a couple of days where we took off to celebrate the Black Excellence event out there from the Happy Movement. And yes, it was great. It was powerful, as you all know. Those of you who had your tickets and could be able to live up with that moment. But tonight we want to start up this week with a very interesting topic and interesting guest that we have long missed on the Pan-African Daily. You all know Reverend Dr. Philippe Matthews and his theory on nothing is wrong with Black people. Something happened to ours. Okay, so we are very, very happy. Like I've been announcing a couple of days before about the need for us to get very, 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 very conscious, the need for us to stay on the objective and the intentions of healing us through our unity and empowerment and inspiration. And we're going to continue doing just that. I want to thank all of you that were a part of the Happy Black Excellence event in New York. I want to thank all of the beautiful people in the world that I got to meet for the first time. And this was a very, very challenging and moving moment for us. And I mean, seeing part of your followers present live, that was something that we thought could never happen in the past 400 years. And it happened in New York. Okay. I don't know, for whatever reason, my videos and even my intros or the breaks on Pan-African Daily, it wouldn't play, and sometimes it would play. So don't worry about that. But like I said, it's not the messenger that is always important, but the message is very, very important to our unity, to our one Africa worldwide, to one Africa by Africans worldwide. And so we have to stay on focus. Another very exciting and interesting moment that we're living in and happenings on the continent, I'll also be breaking down to you as we've been prioritizing the diasporas. And it is time that we start touching base with the happenings on the continent. And a lot has been happening in the last few weeks. I mean, when I say a lot, we know everything happens every day, but we're talking about the key points, which is actually pouring more strength on our unity, on our development. Now we get to see East African community, West African community, the Northern African community also coming up strong, you know, with strong arguments and powerful statements and strategic, I can say, strategic plans regarding the One Africa, in terms of one passport, in terms of an economic plan for the continent, in terms of one currency. Okay, so yes, a lot is actually happening right now in favor of our unity and the new Africa that we've been talking about. And so we will keep just repeating the same school of studies, we will keep reminding you, we will keep inspiring you and empowering you for you to finally understand that there is no better time to be alive now than to be in this moment as an African. Okay? I would say it again. There is no better time like these times that we're living in now, being alive as an African and witnessing this transition, the exodus, witnessing the narratives change. How are they changing? By African themselves telling their own stories from their own perspective. There is no better time than now where we see the internet or the social media space go black. There is just no time than now where our scholars are actually being happy of the feedback. I mean, when I met personally with great professors like Professor James Small face to face, and when I met with Dr. Professor Leonard Jeffries face to face, I mean, you could feel that fire. You could feel the satisfaction in their face. I think something that never happened, because like these great scholars have been fighting for more than 60 years from the time they were teenagers up to now that they are elders and retiring. They fought for the liberation, for the unity, for the freedom of the African, for the empowerment of Africans to be able to define what is good and what is not good for them, how they see the world, how they see their culture, their economics, how they go ahead, how they deal with their resources, with their people. And now we are saying we have a continent to build. For the first time, I could hear it directly from Professor James' mouth say, at least we know we never fought in vain. At least the Malcolm X would be smiling in their graves today, seeing the kind of connection, the kind of unity, the kind of vibration, the kind of energy that is connecting the continent and its diaspora. It's amazing. And so I will continue to encourage you. I will continue to encourage you. I don't know how the most difficult thing now that I have is how do I continue to make you believe that you are the best thing that is happening to humanity right now? How can I continue to make you believe, to convince you? It doesn't matter how your situation, what your situation. We have a continent to build. We have our people to feed. We have our elders to take care of. We have our youth to uplift them, to take power and decide what kind of Africa they want to see and to live in. 4 points. We have a continent to build. We have our people to feed. We have we have our youth to empower. Okay. And so these things need healing. And that's why I'm so happy that we're having Reverend Dr. Rev Shak today with his theory on, nothing happened to us. And like a professor, he will tell you a lot of things that he's been doing around here. But we know he's the key, one of the key professors with Professor Kaba Kameni. I also had the opportunity to meet him at the Black Excellence Conference in New York. And all these theories of traumas and healing and the process that we have to go through to be able to completely be free. I mean, we talk so much about Black love, and Reverend Shock is going to break it from his theory, why it is so difficult for us to feel, most of us to feel and to accept nothing wrong with us, and that we are okay. We just okay. We need to take off all those blinds, all those traumas, all the things that we ourselves are justifying about us. It is time to let go. And that is Black love. And that is African love. That is African love for Africans at home and abroad. So I'll be bringing in Rev. Dr. Philippe Matthews in just a moment, but I want to touch base with my community. I want to touch base with the chat. I know they miss us a lot. We miss ourselves here, this wonderful, beautiful family here. I mean, it was not possible for me, honestly, Ayoka Efwa, Sunovia, Cheryl, it was not possible for me to believe that I could stay a couple of days without you. Yes, I did try my best to see if it was able to just do a short streaming, but it was not possible. The events were just unfolding. I mean, it just would not happen. And I know our ancestors wanted it that way. But can you imagine? I mean, you can see. Can you imagine that you go to an event and you just pop into Mr. Brown, Mr. Paul Brown, and you just pop in to Cheryl on Cheryl. You just pop in. I mean, people that we have been. I mean, you're currently in the chat. Like it wouldn't happen. Like it was not possible to happen. Like it was not a reality. Even though we've been bringing all these brains and scholars live on the Pan African Daily, but like to touch and to feel and to smell and to hawk, it was like it's not happening. It wouldn't happen. But it did happen on Saturday. It happened in the physical, the spiritual connection and context that we've been talking about. The happy movement, thanks to Tagi, Brother Tagi Grant, and Sister Felicia, made it happen with the community in New York, with the great professors and scholars that you can understand, and the whole community of volunteers. And all of you who got your ticket, I know some of you in the beginning, it was hard, but it is okay. And it was okay as we did some adjustments, with the technical challenges that could have been manifesting out there. As you know, when we go live, we also have challenges and people that are always trying to poke their noses where they don't belong. So, yes, I want to thank you for staying faithful, for staying constant, and after the conversation today with Rev Shock, tomorrow we're going to give a feedback and we can share some very moving moments with you. And I hope to get, our fans like Cheryl that was there, and Brother Charles Asukele, and all those that I had the opportunity to meet from the Pan African Daily, to share their impressions on the Black Excellence event. Yes. And then we are going to continue with our conversations on the continent and the political and economic development. What are the presidents saying? What are the women and movement and bodies and the youth saying about this moment, about 2023, right? We've been trying to reach out to the voices on the continent up till now, but we are getting a lot of good information and stories coming out from there. On the other hand, we still have a lot of challenges and work to do. There's still a lot of barriers to overcome. And we know 2063 or 2030 or 2035 or 400 years plan for Africa has already begun and is unstoppable. So yes, so thank you very much. Just stay in the chat and please watch the presentation with Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock. He's going to do a powerful PowerPoint presentation to continue to water our brains on the need that we have to stay focused and intentional about our unity, about our love, about the One Africa, particularly in terms of what kind of ventures and economic development we'll be bringing in to this year. And of course, we'll be touching on keynotes and key events that will be happening. Like we know already, we are in the Black History Month right now, but then we'll be moving on. The next event that I think would be happening after the Black History Month would be the African Liberation Day that will be coming up on May 25th. If other events will be happening in April, of course, like the official launching of the Pan-African Daily TV in the US, that would happen in April for sure, as I know. And then we move on to June, where we'll be gathering in Germany for the festival and the second Pan-African conference that will be attended by this keynote speaker. So yes, so we have a lot that is going on our plate on the Pan-African Daily. I just thought I'd brief you a little bit before I bring in our notable professor, because it's been a long time that we've not connected. Yes, so thank you so much. If you're here for the first time, you know what to do. And please keep the community standards in the chat. Like I said, we are responsible. It's not about our language or whatever. Be careful what you are commenting in the chat. Else, we will not be able to have access to these platforms again. So please welcome with me our dear Reverend Dr. Shock. Philippe Matthews. He is right here. As you can see, the big guy, the great guy, the professor. Yes, we knew him. I mean, we just knew him like Brother Reverend Shock Philippe Matthews on his show, and he's been doing a lot of powerful conferences. He has helped freed economically, liberated economically in his space a lot of us, and he is doing it, and he's going to do it again. I mean, ain't we happy to see him for after all this while? Ain't we curious to find out what has happened to him? Ain't we curious to know what happened that after Reverend, now we are having a doctor, right? So, so Hotep community, I'm so happy to have our Reverend here. Reverend, you're welcome.
Thank you, my beloved. It's good to see you. You're looking well and doing amazing work for the community. And I'm very, very proud of you and proud to be back with you. Yeah, I had to get a doctorate, so that took a little bit of time and took a lot out of me. So now I'm officially Reverend Doctor.
Wow. So I mean, like as if the knowledge that you already had was not enough. On our part, we already thought that, you had given us. I used to say, no, this is not enough. There's still a lot that we have to chew out there, isn't it? What was the doctorate actually
Absolutely.
focused on? Yes.
Metaphysical science and philosophy. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to get quote unquote a traditional doctorate in metaphysical science and philosophy, and then take that and Africanize it and put it towards our people and put it in its proper context. So the term metaphysics really means African sacred science, because all science comes from us. First frequency is the first thought idea of the creator that created the perfect people. And there's a original people, the first people. We have the ability to overcome any situation that the as below, because we're as above people, we have the ability to handle anything that is as below, but we have been interrupted. And I talk about that in terms of what we call second frequency, which are later Europeans coming into the quote unquote human tree and decimating and interrupting and disrupting our true African first frequency signal.
Mm. Wow. I mean, during this process of interruption and stuff like that, a lot of things then happen that, like you said, nothing is wrong with us, but then
Yes.
something happened. Is it the period where they interrupted, like the second frequency interrupted the first frequencies, that things just fell apart, like Chinua Achebe said, and the center could
Yeah.
no longer hold for Africans?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do a presentation momentarily on to kind of illustrate what we're dealing with. And from what my studies and research have brought me to is that we're not cursed. We're under a spell. And because we're in the English language has misspellings, disspellings, and we have to learn how to interrupt the signal of those spells. And so I basically, in this PowerPoint that I'm going to be sharing with you, is I'm going to show you the science behind how second frequency keeps being able to have this longevity of spell over us. But the spell is breaking because we understand the law of thermodynamics says that energy cannot be destroyed. So therefore, we might not be able to destroy second frequency, but we can destroy and interrupt and disrupt their signal and move back into our original frequency.
Wow. And particularly, this is happening at this time now where our unity has been disinterrupted, our connectivity. And you're saying if we understand the metaphysics of disinterrupting also the signals and frequencies of the second frequency, we could be able, to still catch up. Is that what you're trying to say?
100%. Well, you see it happening. And as a result, I'm going to be showing you a concept known as autogenocide, which is a science of where a population begins to eliminate itself off of the planet. Now, we've been hearing this for quite some time, but now more so than ever before, we are seeing a huge decline in second frequency population. And so that's going to cause the appearance that they are, you know, fortifying and getting stronger. But in fact, it doesn't matter how many guns they have. It doesn't matter how many weapons they produce. The original word, sound, or frequency for the creator or for the divine is not God, it's Amma, which is a Dogonic word. And that sound, Amma, is where Ma'at comes from, where the sound Ma comes from, Ma'ah. That is our original sound. That is our original frequency. Once we learn how to use that properly and move out of the English language and start speaking our original frequencies and utterances and words and tonalities, we break the spell, we break the matrix, if you will, because this population is a self-destruct population, and auto-genocide means that they're taking themselves out. But if we do not know what to do and how to do, then we are going to go, some of us are going to go with them.
Wow. All right. Please, I mean, this is very interesting. And this is something that we'll be dealing with on monthly basis with you. Am I correct? Let me first of all get that clear.
Yeah, once a month or every other month, whatever you need. Whatever you need, got it. We got you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And whatever the community wants. The community might say, I don't want that bald-headed guy over there. I don't care about it.
No, I don't think, let us get this clear. I don't think any of us have a choice to decide whether we want or we don't want. We are in the moment of that process that we've chosen to do what we must do.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes.
100%.
So, yes. So what I'm trying to, is it possible that you just break that meaning of metaphysics? Because some of us, like, you know, because of the educational system, and when we heard physics, when we were going to school, it was like, I mean, particularly the girls, it's like it wasn't something for us. So when we had physics, it was always about the science of being a medical doctor, or to be able to learn, you know, physical language to start teaching physics. And most of us will run away, particularly us that we're creating and just are talented in our different spaces, you know, as artists.
Yes.
So what would you actually break for a common African child to understand what metaphysics is about when you say it is the science of the African secret science? Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, African sacred science metaphysics means that you are collapsing as above and so below. And that means that when Amma created you, all of us are literally philosophers. And that is what my research is in. I'm a philosopher, but we're all philosophers because we're the first philosophers. We're the first people. So when we got hijacked, when we got interrupted, captured, corralled, and controlled by this second frequency, over generations, we began to lose our sacred sounds. We began to lose that African sacred science, and we started manifesting more below than as above. So what we're trying to do with my ministry, First Frequency of Oneness, and the concept, nothing is wrong with Black people.com. What we're doing is we're bringing the African back and restoring the African back to their original spiritual frequency, if you will. Are you there? I think you paused for a moment. You froze.
I don't know. That's what I see myself. It's crazy. It's the same thing that I keep saying. My intros are frozen, and yeah, images are frozen. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're a little bit choppy on my side, but I don't know how that's looking for the audience or not.
It is okay. Go ahead.
So if you want, you can pour it in my PowerPoint and I can start going through some of this understanding of why nothing is wrong with this. Something happened to us if you want. And I can put that, if you want to put that up in there, let me know.
Yes.
There we go. All right, family. Now I'm going full screen. Can everybody see that? Is that full screen for everybody?
That is full. Wonderful,
all right.
Beautiful, colorful.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm Reverend Dr. Philippe Matthews, aka the Metaphysical Morpheus, the Black Trauma Authority, and I always start my presentations out by giving libations to my three mothers, my four mothers, excuse me, and my auntie. So my first mother, spiritual mother, is Reverend Dr. Johnny Kluman, upper left-hand corner. She taught me that you are the thinker who thinks the thought that makes the thing. Next to her is Reverend Dr. Helen Carey. Lower right, Reverend Dr. Mary Tumpkin. In the middle, lower middle, Reverend Dr. Barbara King. And of course, our favorite auntie, Nana Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Now, First Frequency of Oneness Science Manifestation and Prosperity is a theosophical-based science ministry that exclusively teaches Black people how to create a spiritual, psychological, and emotional barrier to the second frequency racialized domestic terror that we have been under since their arrival. Our goal is to remove Black people from the deleterious effects of their false racial identities. We'll talk about that momentarily, of third and fourth frequencies. And First Frequency of Oneness helps Black people overcome their trauma bonding, capture bonding, and Stockholm syndrome to second frequency colonization. We're a culturally specific teaching ministry exclusively for Black people, African people, first frequency people. We specialize in healing and removing the ancestral, historical, and incarnate trauma within all Black people. And we also help Black people reveal their natural and original first frequency vibration and signal. And this is an African sacred science-based system, not a self-help system. And as I said before, we are a teaching ministry, not a preaching ministry. And so for those of you who might be seeing me for the first time, as a metaphysical Morpheus, I have a doctorate in metaphysical science and philosophy from the University of Metaphysics, Sedona, founding ministry of First Frequency of Oneness. And the term SHOCK stands for Seeking Higher Omnipotent Conscious or Cosmic Knowledge. And I've authored over 20 books and special reports and bestsellers. So let's get into this. Nothing's wrong with Black people. Something happened to Black people, and the four African traumas and second frequency disruption of Africa and what's going on right now. So this is a chart of the four traumas. The four traumas, and I'm gonna go through it quickly because some of you might already be familiar with this work. Genetic trauma is a trauma that we come here with that is passed on intergenerationally, goes back 14 generations, about 350 years. So whatever trauma your mother and father experienced, your grandfather, great-grandfather, great-grandmother, so on and so forth, that genetic trauma comes over and spills over into us. So we come here with second frequency trauma already inside of us. That moves into the second trauma, which is called decontextualized trauma. So decontextualized or hazy trauma is trauma that does not have a time date or a stamp as to when that trauma was installed into you. But if you understand what's known as the ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, if you've experienced any type of poverty or financial struggle, any type of incest or sexual abuse, any type of incarceration of a family member, drug use and substance abuse of a family member. If you have any of those experiences, divorce as a child, you have deep-seated, decontextualized, hazy trauma that is becoming part of your personality and your operating system, and it's not the truth of who you are. So vicarious trauma, number 3, is secondary trauma. When we see our brothers and sisters being abused, being killed by the police worldwide, being captured, corralled, and controlled, even though we weren't there in that physical situation, because we are linked by frequency and vibration, what Dr. Edward Nichols refers to as people to people, we feel the trauma that is being bestowed upon us, and we can't escape it, because the moment we turn on our device, we hear and see someone in our family, someone in our community being hurt and harmed. When these 3 traumas start to work together, it creates the 4th trauma, known as ghosting trauma. And ghosting trauma is the trauma that causes us to play small, to try to minimize our proximity to whiteness, but we feel we can't escape. And so when we feel we can't escape, we end up harming our own selves. We end up self-sabotaging ourselves. We end up calling each other the N-word. We end up harming our friends and our family because all of this trauma that has built up genetically, decontextually, as well as vicariously, is now manifesting as our personality. And so if you notice on the left-hand side, it has personality and internal, which is genetic and decontextualized trauma. And on the right-hand side, you'll see culture, vacant esteem, and external, which is your vicarious and ghosting trauma. So if we do not understand trauma and do not understand that we're first frequency people, we have no way or means of being able to dissipate this trauma. And so now it starts to look like culture. And so you see how some of us are acting up and acting out in our culture. So let's go into the science of what we call thought viruses and the science of memetics. We want to know how second frequency has been able to create a signal, to create a spell that has lasted so many years, over 500 plus years, particularly on this continent in America. So the science of memetics is the study of how memes move, replicate, duplicate, and imitate, and is based on evolutionary psychology. A meme is a basic unit of cultural transmission or imitation, as well as a unit of information, whereby an idea can catch on and become viral, making it a distinct, memorable unit of cultural transmission. White supremacy is a meme. White supremacy is a thought virus. Whiteness is a thought virus, and it ill affects Black bodies, whether that is both psychologically and physiologically. So when we have more than one meme working together, that's called a meme-plex or meme complex, which is synergistic memes that work together. So religion would be considered a meme complex because it's not our original spirituality or spiritual system. So the fact that we are looking at and worshiping this what we call the three white boys, the white boy on the boat, which was Columbus, the white boy on the stick, which is Jesus, and then the white boy in the sky, which is God. Well, those are not our deities, and that is not our frequency, but it is a memeplex that has been hijacked and forced upon us. Colonialism is a memeplex. Anti-miscegenation, which is a big fancy word here in America, when white people were invented as a matter of law. Before that, there was no such thing as a white person. But when they were invented between 1664 and 1681, that was the birth of the ideology of white supremacy. So white supremacy is a memeplex. It's an ideology. Now, here's what's interesting. There's only two types of memes. There's no such thing as a good meme or a bad meme, but there is what's known as an exotoxic meme, which are harmful to others, and autotoxic, which is harmful to the self. So whiteness, supremacy ideology, colonialism, and the Ma'afa are all exotoxic memeplexes that have been harmful to first frequency Africans and African Americans. When exotoxic memeplexes are turned inward, it creates autotoxic memeplexes that create self-harm, self-hate, and destroys first frequency Africans. So I want you to get that by the external forces of this ideology of whiteness being thrusted upon Black bodies forcefully over generations, it has caused us an autotoxic memes where we now harm ourselves and each other, which is why we cannot solve any of our problems in these lower frequencies. We must understand how to invoke and unlock our first frequency. So the Berlin Conference was an exotoxic memeplex, right? The Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, also known as the Congo Conference or West Africa Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa during the new imperialism period and coincide with Germany's sudden emergence as an imperial power. In 1884, at the time of the conference, 80% of Africa remained under traditional and local control. This is what I call the signal, the signal before the conflict. So before the conflict, we had a consciousness. After they arrived, everything shifted, and then a new consciousness emerged. So from the Berlin Conference, as a theologian, but also as a scholar, I wanted to find out what was being written, or what's the standard that quote unquote white scholars, how do they view and see Africa and African people? And so I want to introduce you to what I call the memeplex of the three H's. Now, these three H's are Hegel, Husserl, and Heidegger. But Dr. Marie Charles, who is a researcher out of the United Kingdom and publishes what's called MFIT, which is an amazing series of books on our history. She's located the first Africans, the first Irish people were African people. The first English people was foundational Black Britons. She has located that we are the first, but in order for white supremacy and the memeplex, the autotoxicity, the exotoxicity of whiteness to occur, these scholars had to come up with a narrative that would keep all Blackness in its place and inform all other levels of scholarship. She says that these three most authoritative ethnological European thinkers of the discipline asserted a strong cultural, particularly which placed Africa and peoples of African ancestry at the bottom of the scale of humanity. She says they're telling perfectly blatant lies to say that Africa has no history. We are now going to dominate these two disciplines of philosophy and phenomenology. Phenomenology is the hands of the original, is in the hands of the original people, which is us. We have to reclaim our disciplines, our ancient disciplines. Phenomenology is the science of pure consciousness and the nature of existence. Phenomenology has philosophical underpinnings within a social science process. It is the lived human experience and how things are perceived and appear to the consciousness. Simply put, how human beings perceive, understand, and live in the world is the subject matter of phenomenological study. Now, Hegel attempted throughout his published writings as well as his lectures, he elaborated a comprehensive and systematic philosophy from what's purportedly a logical standpoint. This is what he had to say. It is characteristics of the Blacks that their consciousness has not yet arrived at the intuition of any objectivity. He is a being in the rough. Africa has no historical part of the world. It has no movement or development to exist. This is what's on the books right now. This is not shifted. This is not changed. This is the hierarchy of this, one of the spells that we are under, one of the memplexes that we are dealing with, that is the reason why I know nothing's wrong with Black people. Something happened to us. Edmund Husserl was the principal founder of phenomenology, and as a positive alternative to experimental methods of the new scientific psychology. So this process, these three H's, they inform the APA. They inform all of the medical situations. You know how some doctors, white doctors, feel that Africans have thicker skin. They have a higher tolerance for pain, so they don't get certain medications for pain and rehab. And the reason for that is because of these three H's, is because of this phenomenology that they wrote, that the signal interruption that they wrote. Our job, my job, is to bring this to light, to let the family know what we are up against and what we can do about it. Now, Heidegger, as Marie Charles stated, as I began examining the essence of Heidegger's work, I was surprised to see that his Hitlerism was not only the subject of speeches and conferences, but it constituted an explicit threat in a considerable number of his lectures. It was not only he was a rector of a university in a powerful position, but also professor of philosophy that Heidegger put body and soul to the surface of spreading Nazism. So the goal has always been to eliminate us and what they cannot eliminate, to capture, corral, and control us. So Africana phenomenology is returning to what Dr. Marie Charles teaches us and Henry Piaget is first sight consciousness. So Lewis Gordon defines Africana philosophy as an area of philosophical research that addresses the problems faced and raised by the African diaspora. Dr. Marie Charles says Africana phenomenology is returning to first sight consciousness, which is our first frequency. So our first frequency, when we put first sight consciousness on it, when we put our eyes on it, we're seeing it through African eyes. As I said, I got a doctorate in metaphysics, but because I am African, I put in first frequency. I had to put first sight consciousness on it and Africanize the European standards of metaphysics and create what's known as African sacred science. Piaget says Africana phenomenology is an emerging subfield within a larger discursive terrain of Africana philosophy. And so what we're going to go through and understand, family, is that we are first frequency, first sight consciousness people, but we have been rudely interrupted and disrupted by the frequencies, by the thought viruses, by the meme plexes of second frequency. And we will be able to break that spell because we have help. Amma is doing a lot of this work for us. It may not look like it, but let's go into the details of this understanding. First frequency people must prepare themselves for second frequency autogenocide. Now, I talked about that earlier. It is unbelievable the numbers of Europeans that are working themselves off the planet. So autogenocide is the arbitrary or ideologically inspired mass murder of a country's citizens by a country's government. It is in an autogenocide, the perpetrators and the victims of the mass murder are members of the same group. So it doesn't matter how many guns they buy, it doesn't matter how many weapons they buy. Amma, the creator, is working them off the planet because they are not a natural occurrence of nature. They are, as I said many times in my lectures, Africans are the facts of nature, second frequency are the freaks of nature. So the ultimate annihilation trauma response is what they engage in, and I call it the three sides. They engage in genocide, which is killing the other. They engage in homicide, which is killing each other. And then they engage in suicide, which is killing themselves. And this is what they have created when they came here. This is not part of first frequency, first sight consciousness. This is second frequency. But we understand we have been rudely interrupted. Now, there's a term that you need to become familiar with, and that is known as excess mortality. The definition is an unusual mortality increase during a specific period in a given population, and often referred to as an excess mortality. Excess mortality in the EU climbed to 16% in July of 2022 from 7% in both June and May. This was the highest value on record, amounting to about 53,000 additional deaths in July globally. Now, here's also what to understand. This is a report that the death rates of second frequency is higher than the death rate of second frequency and Asians as a result. So these are also mutations. Now, this is interesting from Fox News. A scan of all the mutations in the human gene map shows something surprising. People of European descent are evolving fast and not for the better. The study finds that in the past 5,000 years that they've been here, European Americans particularly, have developed a huge batch of potentially harmful genetic mutations, many more than African Americans. So you're understanding and beginning to see that our job is to break this signal and break the second frequency by coming out of this spell. Now, watch this. Africa will propel the world population growth in the next 3 decades. 8 countries are projected to be behind 50% of the growth in population over the next 3 years. That's the DRC, Egypt or Kemet, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Tanzania. In mid-October 2022, the eighth, this is how much they're counting world population. The 8th billionth person was born in Africa, and this analysis is absolutely unbelievable, because guess what they're working on to try to continue to interrupt and disrupt our signal, because they know that we don't die, we multiply. So what is it that we need to do, and how can the community come together to get into this understanding of first frequency, that we're the best of the best, we're the first chosen by the Creator, and the Creator gave us everything necessary and needed for us to survive. Otherwise, we would not, as a population, be the dominant population on the planet, nor would we keep waking up and being able to have resilience and be able to fight the good fight. So the first thing is, I want you to know, don't believe you are first frequency. Know that you are first frequency. Know that you are the Creator, having a third and fourth frequency experience, a trauma experience, and created by a rude interruption of second frequency. Know that nothing has, can, and ever will be wrong with first frequency African people. Second frequency Amu happened to African people, which we call the Ma'afa. Now, I have a free show lecture series that I do called Nothing is Wrong with Black People. You can go to nothingiswrongwithblackpeople.com and go through the lessons so you can understand exactly what to do and how to do. And also, if you are inclined to become a part of our ministry, where we can give you information that a lot has been banned from the internet. Dr. Tatah was talking about that earlier. We have a platform where we can actually talk about and give you the latest data on what to do with all of this signal interruption as it relates to the situation that we have been in since 2020. So you can go to our Patreon and type in Rev Shock. Also, and I think Dr. Tatah has the links for this, you can go to affirmationofpower.com, which is our affirmation of protection that I always do at the end of my lectures and presentations. You can download them, print them out, and put them in your purse, put them in your wallet, put them on your walls, and so that you can repeat this and develop a frequency of first frequency on a daily basis. So practicing first frequency specificity daily requires that you invoke the cosmic law of 7. And that is reciting the affirmation of power, prosperity, and protection 7 times a day, 7 days a week. And that simply is this: I am one with first frequency. I am one with the first thought idea. I am one with the firstborn people. I am one with the only one. Ashe, and so it is. All right, my family, that is my presentation, Dr. Tatah. Let's see, I can stop sharing my screen here. Let's turn this off. I think, how do I do that, Doc? Let's see here. There we go. All right. Thank you for that, family.
Yeah, thank you too. I hope you can hear me out there. I hope you can hear me out there.
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for that powerful presentation. Very short, very understandable. And you know, we've been listening to this this particular presentation, but the way you have narrowed it, and then I think because of our consciousness also has grown, it was very easy for us to understand it. I'm very sorry I cannot share the links that you sent to me for people to follow up and get it, because it wouldn't allow me to share that link.
Oh, no worries.
So
no
I think
worries.
you can put it from your point. If you can put it in the stream, then I will bring it up to the chat. Yeah. So yes, people,
Yes.
I mean, that was Reverend, or that is our brother, Reverend Dr. Chuck Phillips. You see, it is about solutions. Like we talk
Yeah.
about, we're looking for solutions for our healing, for our development, for our community. And there are events going around, African unity, African love, connecting one another. And all these events are really geared to bring meaningful, sustainable solutions to our challenges by us, from us. And this kind of knowledge that you're spilling out here, Prof. I have one question. We'll be holding the second Pan African conference in Germany
Hmm.
during the days of the Africa Festival, from the 1st to the 4th of June.
Hmm.
I met with one scholar, I don't want to reveal his name here, at the Black Excellence Conference, and he was asking if it is possible, if it will be possible that we ask audience and also try to get a conversation with German scholars on this topic of the Berlin Conference. What will you think about it?
To have conferences with second frequency scholars or Black scholars.
um uh, both of us, like you're bringing a presentation, and what most of these white scholars or European scholars wrote about the first frequencies. I mean, like, to actually open up the discussion on how we look at it and how they had been, writing about us. I
Yes.
mean, wouldn't that be something that is, I mean, I know we are loving and really wanting to get this thing done forever. I mean, for once and for all, that Germany would have to, we would have to start holding these conversations and getting German scholars that have been writing about the concept of the first frequencies, isn't it?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, well, I am done. I'm one of those persons. I'm kind of done talking, because we talk and talk and talk and nothing changes. So something
Yes,
has to shift in our consciousness, uh, individually first, and then globally second. So
correct.
there's a quote that I say that nothing can happen to you until you allow it to happen through you. Once you develop first frequency, once you or invoke first frequency and Amma, you develop first sight consciousness. The powers that be began to dissipate. So I
Mm,
would love to have a dialogue with other Black scholars, but I have absolutely nothing to say to European scholars because they can't solve the problem. They are the problem. We must solve the problem, but we can't solve the problem if we are in trauma. We can't solve the problem if we are not able to think strategically. We can't solve the problem if we don't know what the hierarchical systems, which I just shared with you, is feeding and giving to all other disciplines, all other industries. We must disrupt the spell and interrupt the signal. We're not cursed. We are under a spell, and we have to learn how to take. They took our sound, they took our original meta natir, they took our utterances, and they created a false language, which is the English language. As you know, many Africans speak 5 and 6 different languages, but if they
mm,
don't speak English, they're considered illiterate.
correct,
This is a memeplex. This is a signal and a frequency that must be disrupted.
correct.
But if we do not get control of our consciousness, our original consciousness, our original frequency, then we're just going to do a lot of talking, but nothing is changing.
Ashe, I hear you. On the other part, like I'm saying, it is not even a conversation of holding it with white scholars or something like that. We want to just exactly the presentation that you did. We would
Hmm.
definitely have to do this presentation live in Germany next
Sure.
come June. Yes, even if it's going to be a digital or virtual, but we would have to hold that conversation. What I'm saying, it is not for them; it's for us. It is for us
Absolutely.
to be able
Absolutely.
to begin to define and to hold accountable, I mean, us, in believing in all these structures that otherwise, would keep us on the same position that we're in. Like you're saying, Reverend, like, we are the ones to cast it out. We are the ones to
Absolutely.
continue reverse that. We are the ones to be on the first frequency and repeat these affirmations 7 times a day, 7 times in a week, and 365 days.
Absolutely.
And if we would recite that, like your ministry is coming up and we are expanding, we are going to begin. Just this is enough. I don't think we need to even do more. What do you think?
So the science of memetics, and how an idea becomes viral, how it becomes a virus, how the ideology of whiteness became a thing, that we have to learn how to disrupt that. And we have the power and the tools to do that. Knowing about our history is not enough. We have to know how to disrupt and interrupt not only the second frequency signals that are constantly assaulting us, but also the decontextualized trauma that's inside of us that is so deeply buried we don't even know it's there, that creates a trauma bond or Stockholm syndrome to whiteness. You've got a lot of brothers and sisters on the continent who have become totally Europeanized. Their decontextualized trauma is a lived experience because they're trying to get closer to second frequency, and the closer they get, the sicker they become mentally and emotionally. So our job is to restore our original spiritual vibration that God, Amma, not God, because that's a Germanic word, but Amma put inside of us. And most of us don't know we have that signal. Most of us don't know that we have that original signal and frequency, that we are first and that we are loved so much by Amma that she made us first and gave us the ability to become living Jesuses or Christ in consciousness on this earth. No other population has gone through a crucifixion more than us. And so therefore it's time for our resurrection in consciousness. We've played the ground game. Now it's time to play the air game. That air game is our mind, is getting our mental faculties in place and in order, and getting our spiritual faculties in alignment with first sight consciousness.
Wow, I mean, you're just saying something here that resonates with the teaching that Maponga, King Maponga, the Gospel according to Yeshua Maponga. He said it. We have been on the earth, and the earth is the down syndrome of where our feet are, like you're saying. But now we have to be in the air. We have to control the air, and the air is the mind. That's
right. That's absolutely right. 100%. Yeah, I absolutely love Mapaga. That guy is the gospel, because we have a similar understanding of what's necessary and what's needed. I'm approaching this from a scientific approach and a metaphysical approach, so a spiritual science, if you will. Our job is to make the invisible visible, to make the known unknown, to make the unknown known. We are philosophers. We are the first mystics. We are the first Jehutis. We are the first thinkers. As Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman taught me, that we are the thinker who thinks the thought that makes the thing. But we're able to manifest anything that we want. But when we're interrupted and disrupted, we're not able to hold a frequency or hold a thought. But together, collectively, we're able to create that frequency by reciting that affirmation on a daily basis, by just going into consciousness for that brief moment. If we can get 100,000, 200,000, 1 million people to do that affirmation, it starts to break apart the idea that you have been captured, corralled, and controlled, and that you're a slave. We are not slaves. We were enslaved, but we are not slaves. And they are losing their hold on being able to capture, corral, and control us, which is why you see this influx of second frequency moving into Africa and trying to gain control of industry, because they're losing control. Not just because they're not just for the merit of losing control, but because the population is thinning so rapidly they're desperate, and you're seeing desperate measures in their desperate time.
Absolute. I have a comment from just me. I mean, our family member in the chat saying, yes, we are everything, but without a black love, without self-love, it would be meaningful. But this is the beginning of everything that we're talking about. How could you get self-love when you don't disengage? Just me. This is the point. This is the point. And we keep making this a mistake by always saying, yes, we need a unity. We need, yes, we all know what we need.
Right.
But how to get what we need is what we sit here every day and do research and talk about it and melinate and think
Yeah.
and bring in the success channel on it. You are
Well,
150% correct on saying we
yeah.
need love. I know 1,000, 1 million people keep saying,
Absolutely.
oh, the thing about us Africans is self-love. Then I ask
Absolutely.
always, what is self-love?
Absolutely. So self-love is what's known as MER, M-E-R or M-H-E-R, and I don't know how to roll the R. You could roll the R, but it's the highest level of unconditional love. That unconditional love is what created us. When Amma decided to replicate and duplicate itself in human organic form, the first African was born. And a perfect people from a perfect entity was created. We are made in the image and likeness of perfection. We are perfect, whole, and complete in the image and likeness and in the frequency of Amma and the creator. So when that signal is interrupted, we start to doubt that we have power. We start to doubt that we can control our existence. And some of us get into this habit of saying, well, we all have to come together to, no, we don't. We don't all have to come together because we've never been all together. That's why we even had tribes in ancient Africa. But we were under one spiritual understanding of how to manifest our reality. We weren't interrupted at that point. So once we go back to the first sight consciousness, we will be able to handle anything that is happening in the second and lower frequencies in our existence.
Ashe, Baba. That is the point. That is the beginning of, I mean, the beginning of all and the end of all. I mean, you see, because even the affirmation, not the concept, the reality of Amma is not a he or a she. And even we know Dr. Nichols talked about it. We also know Dr. I just forgot his name, talked about it. I mean, the principles of female, the female principles of our spirituality.
Divine feminine and divine masculine. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yes. The divine masculine and feminine. Yes. But you see in the churches or in the religious bodies today, you always hear our Father who art in heaven. It's always about the he. Oh, correct. I know my Father. I know he is. Even in the prayers.
Right. That's the spell. Thank you for bringing that up, my beloved goddess. That's what I'm talking about in terms of a spell. We're sitting up and we are begging and praying to a word that has nothing to do with us, that keeps us locked in bondage. We are sitting up and saying, please, God, do this. He is this. He is the allness. No, Amma is the allness. The words that we use, we have to learn how to change those words and go back to the original words, the original frequency of those words. When you use the word Amma, that M vibrates the bones in your body. The bones in your body then vibrate and they begin to liquidate and nourish the liquid systems in your body and nourish the blood. So as a result, and I think we just lost Dr. Tatah, she'll be back. So I guess I'm lecturing again, family. But when we understand that Amma, that frequency heals us. But when you say Ad, that is a Germanic word, which means an entity outside, a great entity outside of you. Well, we know that Amma is not only outside of us, but inside of us and all around us, that we are Amma in expression. That's a different reality and a different frequency when we say Amma versus when I use the term God, right? So that's what we have to understand, family, is that we have these mean plexes, these viral thoughts, words have hijacked us and put us under a spell. And now we do it to ourselves. And as Dr. Tatah was saying, many of the pastors and preachers are out here propagating this, and it has nothing to do with us. In fact, we know second frequency took, because they were so afraid of the feminine principle, they took the feminine principle out of their made up faith systems and made the woman a Holy Ghost. So this is something that is not us. But if we don't understand our original Trinity of Nun, Ptah, and Atum, if we don't know these original words, these original utterances, then we just keep running on a treadmill to stand still. We hope, we wish, we pray, but nothing manifests, nothing changes, because we're under a lower frequency, and we're under the spell-ing and the misspell-ings of second frequency.
Absolute. Yes, because that's the point where I wanted us to come to the issue of Black love, and
Yes.
to say, if you can say all the things you want about Black love, but if you don't if you don't disrupt this concept of thinking that the creator or God is always a he, and that's
Right.
why you were talking about the language issue. And when you think in that language and you prophesy it and you be in it, you can never get real love. You cannot get self-love
Absolutely.
for you, because
Absolutely.
you are in the space where it's just all about that. Now, no matter how we say it, no matter how we preach it, we have to practice. We have to practice the affirmation of this I am one frequency. I mean, could you just
Yes.
say that again and let's repeat it?
Sure. I am one with first frequency.
I am one with first frequency.
I am one with the first thought idea.
I am one with the first thought idea.
I am one with the firstborn people.
I am one with the firstborn people.
I am one with the only one.
I am one with the only one. Ashe.
Ashe, and so it is.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So Ashe is simply so it is. Or for
Yes.
those of us that are Christianized, Amen is
Yes.
like,
Yes.
we know about the Amen rule, you know.
Yes.
I love it. I love it because it is the path backwards. Isn't it what, like in the African let's just say in our words, we talk about Sankofa. Isn't it the same?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it absolutely is the same. We're going back to come forward. Now, the interesting thing about this, Dr. Tatah, and one of the things that I really admire and appreciate about the work that you're doing and the platform that you've built, I've had many conversations with scholars here in America, and we sometimes get very perplexed because we recognize that a lot of the people, our family on the continent, don't know their history. They don't know what happened to them. They don't know about signal interruption. And so many of us, such as yourself, we have to, it's incumbent upon us, the influencers and the people who have attracted a large number of people to bring, and you do this well, you bring on the experts that teach us what we need to know. But what I specialize in and I want to do is I want to teach you how to use it, how to not just have it intellectually, but to how to manifest it, how to embody it, how to change your life, how to change your reality in real time, rather than just growing old and waiting for it to happen and hoping for it to happen. We have the power of Amma, because we are first frequency people. We have the power to break any spell, any dis-ease that befalls us in nature. Well, if second frequency is the opposite of nature, then we have to learn how to disrupt their nature, because Amma is already working synergistically to eliminate these people off the planet and to consolidate them. We have to be ready in frequency when that happens. Because if we are still, quote unquote, Europeanized in our thinking, all we're going to do is the same thing that they did to us, and then we'll do it to each other.
Oh, yeah, but it's happening exactly what you're saying. So, I mean, I appreciate it, particularly like we know everybody is on his own or her mission, and everybody should stick to their mission. That's what I always say. We can do everything. You bring in the practical how to do. My job is facilitate who does what and what is happening. And the job of the researchers that you are research, the knowledge, bring it. But one thing that I find very interesting, and we were talking about it this weekend with Professor James Smallwood, was the diaspora, particularly you, the African American Jamaican scholars, and you are the key. And I think every other person knows but us. It's only us that don't know. Because I still get all these questions, we get all this feedback. Oh, Pan African Daily TV. I mean, from the siblings on the continent. Yeah, why are you based in the diaspora? Why are you not coming up to the continent? Of course, this is the energy. The most important place that we have to do is to take back this knowledge and this excellence to be able to liberate the country. I mean, the continent from its thought processes. We are still so embedded, and this is the fact, we're still so embedded in the knowledge of our known history that we have to begin to bring now these conversations on it. Thank God in this past 2 years of COVID and the technological explosion that we're in now, a lot, just say a little bit is happening now, but it is just still, I hear something. I don't even know what this is. Okay, I'm just happy that something is happening around me. I'm just happy that we are moving and now we are connecting and now we are meeting. Just like I was excited that I'm meeting you, and the first person that made me understand I was a goddess was you. And you know,
Absolutely.
and coming back into these processes, even me being in the diaspora for a while, I never knew until we started these conversations. Of course, I did know that I was a mission and I stuck to my mission, but going into that thought process of actually, it takes the spirituality of elevation, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are divine spiritual people. That is the core and foundation of who we are as African people. But if we are praying to a false white man-made deity or deities, then we are, in a very real sense, deserve to be trapped. We deserve to be stuck because we are not doing what we're supposed to do. And part of their disruption and interruption was to separate Africa from African Americans and the African diaspora and keep us confused. What we're trying to do at First Frequency of Oneness is to bring back that first frequency unity. And by doing so, one person at a time. So a lot of people will come to me and say, how can we better our situation? Well, just like you get on an airplane and the flight attendant will tell you in case of cabin pressure changing and the oxygen masks come down, put your oxygen mask on first and then give it to the person or a child, whoever is next to you. So we have to first get first frequency, first sight consciousness into us individually. Don't worry about the rest because frequency recognizes itself. That's called frequency specificity. So as the people right now that are listening and watching, they feel what I'm saying. There's a truth that they might not be able to necessarily have words to articulate, but truth recognizes itself. So as long as I take care of this vessel, this spiritual vessel having a second frequency experience, then I spread memes, thought viruses to counteract and contradict second frequency signals. So it begins with us. It begins with Dr. Tatah. It begins with each individual that is watching live right now and will be in the archives. Once you get your frequency right, you start to attract and see all of the other frequencies that are like-minded in truth with you.
Absolutely. I think if it, you're talking and I'm just hearing it like, if we say first frequencies, it's the same like black love. Sorry, not black love is the same like self-love. Because if you
well, there's only one love, and that's black love. That's
yes.
That's it. See,
yes.
Amma, when we say we're made in the image and likeness of Amma, so let's break it down scientifically. So Amma, the creator, the universe, in order for light to be seen, blackness must be present first. Dark energy and dark matter is what we mastered. We learned how to manipulate dark matter and dark energy and build civilizations, and the longest lasting civilizations in history. So we are a master of black matter, because as the physicist, my brother Ron Spears says, it's not about Black Lives Matter. It's about black matter lives. Black matter is the only matter. Amma is black. Before you can have melanin, carbon must exist and be present. We are carbon-based. We are black-based. We are Neteru. We are Kemeteru. So we are black people having a white experience, an opposing experience. And that opposing experience is a signal, is a frequency that must be disrupted and interrupted. And that's what that's my job, that's my goal, and that's what my ministry. And I'm looking for people to come in and let's begin to spread this so we can understand we need to know about Egypt, we need to know about Kemet, we need to know about our history, but we need to know how to weaponize it and use it on our own behalf to cleanse ourselves from second frequency interruption, assault, capture, corralling, and controlling our behavior.
Wonderful. I mean, this caption that you just said now, I'm going to chop it up. I mean, I saw it was a third, I think a 3 to 5 second, and we will be able, honestly, to drop it on our TikTok and our Instagram. That was powerful. I mean, as a matter of fact, that was like summarize everything that we need to know. And I just want to inform our audience that we'll be coming out with the Pan-African Daily TV book.
Oh, wonderful.
Daily TV book is exactly these captions of the moments that we have to master, from each of our keynote speakers and the world-class speakers that we've been having here. I mean, we have a lot of them.
Absolutely.
Would it be a caption with image that are answer it, and so that we put it on, but we're going to keep it really simple, like just PDFs where people can download, and give us some support. But you have to become a member of the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube thing. You have to sign up for a member, a full member of just $10, or $15 each month, and you'll be able to get access to that. And we're coming out with just a lot of stuff. And why? Because we say these things, but this caption in each post and each communication that we are bridging can just align to every other thing without us even watching this 2 hours conversation that we're producing. But the 3 seconds or the 30 seconds, and that's why you see they're coming out with the shots, they come out with the TikToks, because they understand none that is compressed. Just compress and caption into 30 seconds can describe a whole process that we would take a lot of time to listen on it. How do we go on from here? That's what I always say. That's the question we always ask ourselves, Rev. How do we move on?
Well, we move on by first recognizing nothing is wrong with us, something happened to us. So when something comes up in your personal experience, someone comes up to you and harms you, says something to you that harms you, or they do something, understand that nothing's wrong with that person, something happened to that person. Nothing is wrong with you, something happened to you. So once we step back and know that this is a trauma, this is a personality that is so traumatic, and their trauma has been ruling and running them, their signal interruption has been ruling and running them for so long that it becomes their personality, and it starts to look like culture. So now when you understand you've been hijacked, so you have to become aware of your awareness. This is what Amma gave us. We're the only species that can become aware of our awareness. So I call that collapsing time and capturing our thought. A matter of fact, I'll probably do a lecture on that next time I come on next month and walk you through that process of how a thought is nothing more than a droplet of neurotransmitter, and we're able to interrupt our thoughts. So whatever is automated, oh, I'm no good, oh, I did this, I'm not worthy. All of those are lies of misspellings that was put inside of you from trauma. Nothing's wrong with you. Something happened to you. And to begin to heal for the first time. So the first thing that we need to do is recognize it's not your fault. What's wrong in your life, where you were born, how you were born, in the circumstances and the manner in which you were born, is not your fault. Something happened to you that was socially engineered. So just knowing that, start with that. And now that opens you up to now, okay, well, if nothing's wrong with me, and this is a socially engineered situation, what can I do about it? And that's where the lessons come in when we do Nothing Is Wrong With Us, Nothing Is Wrong With Blackpeople.com. And I go through that, but I'm going to extend those lessons with you and your community.
Wonderful. I mean, this is the point. This is the break point. Family, you can understand me, you that are watching me on the continent, in Europe, in the diaspora, or wherever you're watching me. Have you ever had that experience where you think something is wrong with you? All of us, we do have that experience that at a certain point you're like, am I normal? What is wrong with me? What is happening around me? And exactly, this is the point. This is the point where most people are at the verge, give up. At this point, when you question yourself and you think that something is wrong with you because of the way the other people that something is wrong with them treat you, or they look at you, or they comment you, or they interact, whether it's in your workspace or in your daily life or in your private life circle. The moment you start questioning yourself and like, what is wrong with me? Then you begin to know that the questions you ask, the answers to the questions that we are asking on, and you begin to get, exactly like my sister Agula is saying, you begin to get that guilt and shame. You begin to feel that I have done something, I'm not worthy. It's about me. Why am I like this? Or why are others succeeding and me not? Or why are their finances? What is wrong with me? I'm just the last. I'm the least. I'm not able. I'm not capable. I'm not strong. I'm not powerful. I'm not intelligent to be like them. No, this is the point. That's what you're saying.
Those are the lies. Those what you just did was show all of the lies. That's exactly correct, Dr. Tatah. So understand that this is very liberating and empowering, because most of us, when we come into first frequency consciousness, when we come into understanding what first sight consciousness is, it's overwhelming and it's liberating at the same time, because now I actually have control of my life, and I'm no longer a victim. I can now move victoriously. And as a result of that, imagine instilling and installing into your child, into our children, hey, nothing is wrong with you. Something happened to you. So I'm no longer going to blame the victim. I'm no longer going to blame my people for acting up and acting out a particular way. I see through that. I have a higher frequency. Truth recognizes itself. And as a result of that truth, I see you. I actually see you for who and what you really are. And that is an Amma in expression, but you have been interrupted by trauma, by second frequency trauma imprints.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Absolutely correct. And then the affirmation of probably like what I used to teach in my community, or what we do is, even when you get that aspect of what is wrong with me, what is happening to me, why don't I think like others, or why do people not like me? You begin to feel like people don't like you. You begin to take personal reactions. You begin to take simple things to become personal. You understand? You just begin to understand that level of your vibration and the energies that are surrounding you is not you. That
That's
thought
right.
is not even you.
That's right. That's so powerful, so true, Goddess, because when we understand the science of memetics, when we understand the science of what we call a thought virus, many of the thoughts that we have that create certain feelings are not even our own.
Mhm.
They don't belong to us. They're superimposed and projected onto us. That's the interruption. And once you know that once you know something is trying to interrupt you, it's like I don't know if you remember some of the antivirus programs that came out back in the day with when you were using Windows, like Norton and McAfee, and they would go in and they would look for this Trojan virus in your hard drive, and every time it would find something, find it, it would relocate to another part of your hard drive. Well, that's what second frequency signal interruption does. All right, so you get your relationship right, then you have a health challenge. You get your health challenge corrected, then you have a financial crisis, and they keep trying to interrupt you and keep you in fear and not knowing who you really are, not knowing that you can completely dispel any misspelling from second frequency out of your, not just your environment, but out of your body.
Mhm.
Right? Because second frequency, that's in our bodies as trauma. Once we understand that nothing can happen to us until we allow it to happen through us, we then have the power to cleanse and heal ourselves for the very first time. Many of the folks that are watching this right now, you have not met your greatest Ama self yet. You have
Yes.
no idea how amazing you actually are,
Yes.
because you have been proselytized and told, even by their scripture, that you are nothing and I of nothing can do nothing without. No, that's a lie. That's not the truth. You are something. You are Ama in expression. Ama is, therefore you are. DNA is what we are, but divine or deity is who we are.
DNA is what we are, but divine is who we are, and deity.
Absolutely. And deity is who we
Wow.
are. We are Amas in expression. So
This
we
is
have the power to, so this is what's crazy about it, right, Dr. Tatah? If I
shared.
use a language that was designed, as I showed you, that was designed to make me less than, then every time I speak, I'm speaking in the name of Ama to harm myself and hurt myself and keep myself on this treadmill of confusion.
Speak on, Reverend. Just
So,
preach it. Just go ahead.
so what I'm trying to do with the community is I'm trying to teach you that you have a power that was placed into you that is your birthright, that second frequency cannot access. They cannot access our divine. They cannot access first sight consciousness, because something happened to them as well. And we understand that was part of the Ice Age. But what a lot of people don't know, and I've done extensive research on this with a brother named Keenan Booker, who wrote a 3-volume series called Kicked Out of Heaven. What happened to, and I'll bring that knowledge with you to this platform and begin sharing that. I haven't shared it with any of the other platforms, so I'll do that exclusively with you. But during the Dark Ages, medieval times, there were many ice ages that a lot of people don't know about and a lot of scholars don't know about. There were heat waves, there were floods, there were so many different levels of famine that nature literally tried to eliminate this group off the earth, because when they came out of the ice, their immune systems were shattered and ruptured. And so when they came back into full nature from the caves, nature began to kill them. And this is why they're so violent, because they recognized they could not coexist with the dominant population of a black planet. And so their only way is through the three sides: suicide, homicide, genocide, violence. That's the only thing that they know how to do. That is the opposite of our nature. Now, that doesn't mean we don't know how to protect ourselves and defend ourselves, but that signal interruption, if you are not of Amma, if you are not of the original people, then you are an abomination of the original people. So we have to understand that this group, this species that evolved, calling themselves and creating the false label called white people. There's no such thing. It's an idea. It's it's an ideology, and an ideology can be interrupted. An ideology can be challenged. An ideology can be dismantled but it has to be the correct frequency. So if we are the first frequency, of course we can abolish any of the lower frequencies. We can interrupt any signal and disrupt any signal that we want. But because we've been under this spell, not curse, but spell of second frequency for so many years, so many centuries, that many of us have forgotten how to invoke. So one of the things that I'll be doing, that I'm working on right now, is a actual webinar of how to use certain words, certain spellings to understand how to dispel the situation that we're in, how to use the words and utterances of words that, regardless of what's happening to us in our physical environment, we have the ability to shut that down. We have the ability to inoculate ourselves from trauma. We have the ability to protect ourselves spiritually, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. Otherwise, we end up doing what they want us to do. We become autogenocidal. We start to commit suicide. We start to engage in genocide. We start to engage in homicide. That lets you know our signal is interrupted. When I see black people harming black people, that's signal interruption. That person has been successfully interrupted. We're not sick people, Dr. Tatah. We're sick from being captured, corralled, and controlled by sick people. So when you are around enough sickness, just like if you have kids, and you do, when your babies have the flu, guess what mama got? Mama got the flu too, because your proximity, if everybody in the group is sick, the person who is healthy looks sick. So understand that. If everybody is sick in second frequency, healthy people, first frequency people, look sick to them.
So people, you hear this, you get it, isn't it? I mean, are you in this space in this moment right now? Are you right here? Are you finding yourself back to your first frequency-ness? Is the armor in you manifesting right now? Ain't you shaking? Ain't you like, wow? Ain't you like, okay, really? Exactly. That's the point. That is truly who you are. By the moment you start like, I get it, and you even begin to see the symptoms and you smell it all around you, then you know our healing, when we're talking about our unity, our love, our connectivity, and building the Africa we want, will not come from any other person, will not come from any structures that we try to compare, will not come from any developmental political structures. It will come from within you.
That's
the
right.
armor in you.
That's
has
right.
to be so explosive. The vibration of the frequency of your first frequency-ness, which is your Africanness, once you define that within you, that is what you are seeking to call Black love or
That's right.
self-love. That is everything that you're coining and asking what is wrong with us. That is
That's right.
everything that we ourselves are famed to say, oh no, we can never unite. We were already united. We
Right.
are always united. I said it, and I thank Rev because you are just punching on that. That's what I say all the time. We have never been disunited, but we just forgot.
Absolutely. We forgot because we were under this spell, and the spell. See, the spell is also part of hijacking your spiritual system. So if I can keep you separated by teaching you words that keep you separated from your actual divinity and superimpose a deity and divinity and faith-based system that was designed by second frequency to keep you in control of yourself, then how do you get out of that? How does one break that spell? Well, you break the spell first by knowing that you're under a spell, that you're
Mm.
under a second frequency spell, and that if
Yeah.
it's of the English language, it's the language of lies. It's
Mm.
the language of deception.
Mhm. Yes, I hear my sister Synovia say, I am a true Pan-African woman. Affirmation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. I mean, this is it. This is it. So the recitation and affirmation and I love this. I love this energy. I love the spirit that is here. And this is what I was just telling you. I missed for a couple of time now. When we don't connect, we must be sick, isn't it? That is
Absolutely.
that. Yes, when ourness
Absolutely.
is there and our Africanness, and I don't get it. I don't get it when we meet like we met at the Black Excellence. You could see the few. I mean, I don't know. You could see the melting between us.
Hmm.
It was impossible for us not just to hug each other. As if we just had to hug each other and stay there. When I hugged Cheryl, it was like something happened in my mind, in my brain. I
Hmm.
took off, I really took off everything that she had, you know, and she felt the same thing. It's the same thing. Whether it's Synovia, whether I met Agula, my sister Agula, and it was like we have seen and known ourselves for ages. I had an auntie from Barbados that visited and she came and was looking for me, like, Dr. Susan, I found out that my DNA and this 70% is from West Cameroon and this. And I said, Auntie, I know you before. And because when she looked at me, I saw and this my auntie is of late. And
Hmm.
even the
Hmm.
dress that she was putting on, my auntie had that dress on. I'm
Hmm.
telling you, people, the magic that happened, it is unexplainable. But when I would go through the documentary with each picture and explain what I felt, what was in there in that particular spirit, in that particular person at that particular moment, then we will begin to understand that really we are just one.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And we have already won this. This has already been written in the Akashic records. We have already won this. We just have to awaken to our first frequency selves. We've done it all. We've been through it all. As I said before, we've gone through a crucifixion. We're the most crucified people on the planet. We are the Jesus Christ. We are the walking personification of the Christ consciousness. And so now it's time for our resurrection. And that resurrection is in our first frequency consciousness. It's
Mm.
being one with the only one.
Hey, one with the only one that is
Hmm.
you. Just
Yes,
being one back with your broken self,
that's right.
bringing out all those broken but one thing, Baba, that I want to bring our consciousness to right here that you said, and I think that's also a very important aspect. Even though you say you're going to be teaching us when you come back, I don't think we're going to wait for a month to have you. To be honest with you, I want to throw this to my audience. If I have a right to strongly think and say, I don't think 1 month is going to be before we get this kind of energy here. What do you think in the chat? Drop it in the chat. When do you want Dr. Reverend Philippe Shock Matthew? When and how often? And then we're going to hold him right accountable. This is how we started One Africa. Remember, that's how we started it.
Oh, that's great. Y'all put me on the spot. That's good. That's good, Dr. Tatah. I'm going to get you for this. I'm going to get you for this. That's good. That's good. That's hilarious. Oh, a month is too long to wait. Oh, my gosh. What?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, really? Really, Ernest? Honestly?
And Ernest is saying tomorrow. Tomorrow again. It's been too much. It's not a joke, people. It's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. And as you know, look, next week, Nana FY is on fire, and we too. Yes, Kojo, you know it.
Next week, tomorrow. My gosh, what just happened? What did I say? What did I do? What did I do?
No, I'm so sorry. You don't even have control of what you say.
No, I'm not. Right. I have no control right now. I'm being led by the divine feminine, known as Dr. Susan Tatah.
Yes. Even me, I can even control when I have to flip out, or when I have to like Kojo is saying, when we're on fire, I put them on fire. It's just that is it. And I think, isn't it the moment where, when we are in the Christian churches or in the religious churches, we begin to say the Holy Spirit is falling down on us, and we start acting? What would you compare this to? What is Alma doing with us?
Uh-oh, we lost her again. Her feed dropped. Well, that's how that works, family. Luckily, I do a show, so I know how to segue and fill in. But oh, there you are. You're back. Okay, go ahead, Goddess. What was your question? I was about to fill in for you, and guest host or something. Go ahead, Goddess. What were you going to say? What was your question?
Now, the issue that I was like, what do you think Amma is doing with us right now? Like, you want to wait for a month before I can be in your presence? Are you all normal? Our brother Matazio, all the way from Holland, is saying this cannot be. A month will bring other interruptions. Next show now.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's something we'll discuss. You know, in the green room, and figure out, maybe we could do a week-long, process together. And you know, I've got so much content and so much to offer and give to the community. So yeah, let's make it happen. Let's figure it out.
No, because I think Amma is just trying to bring the justice that when you went away to do more research, we missed you. It's a fact.
Well, this is what I was doing. I was doing research. You're seeing it now coming out. I couldn't come back empty-handed. You know what I'm saying? I had to come back with something. Oh my gosh.
All right. Okay, we hear you. Take your time. Connect with us. And, but I think, honestly, I think 1 month is too much. And we see the way. Why am I saying so? Because the trends are going so fast. And dear family, we know we don't have any time to waste. And if we can get a 3 weeks, when I say a 3 weeks package and a cost to detox and to cleanse and go back into our one frequency, I mean, like, really go into the meditation process of affirmation. And that we're not going to do live here. I can already guarantee you, we're not going to do live here. We're going to do it on a webinar, special webinar. People have to register and be a part of that, and be able to say, I intentionally want to take myself to the next level. I want to go back to Sankofa, re-engineer my thought processes, even my communication, my body language, patch out all this negative energy of thinking that something is wrong with me, or people are doing something to me, or even the people themselves. We throw all the blames and the curses and and the accusations on them. We have to get a 3 weeks to detox all this process.
Absolutely.
And we would be coming back with information on how we're going to do it. Certainly that's going to take place by the end of February and March. Remember, we're coming back also with our brother Kamati, who we said by the middle of March, we have to be affirming to see what kind of structures that he also on his own part, or she. I call all of you now sheroes and heroes, all of us. I don't even know how to say, Yes, just in that. So yes, I think we have to get a 3 weeks. When I say a 3 weeks, I don't know what we're going to do intervals, but that's what the ancestors are giving me. We need to
Okay,
detox. We need to
let's do
detox
it.
this stuff. We
Yes.
need to cleanse up, particularly when we are getting meddled. We are mixing with other spirits, like you said, that are already so damaged and contaminated, and they can easily contaminate us. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is a process we have to do constantly. Imagine
Absolutely.
how much money you give to your gym studios to lose weight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can imagine how much money we give to all the therapeutic in terms of our diet, or put us
Mm-hmm.
on I don't know what. So it's the same energy and it's the same amount. And we have to put in to detox to be able to rise up to a level. There's always a price to pay.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a price to pay for walking away, as a matter of fact, from our past frequencies. So
Absolutely.
coming back is not just a walk in the park. And I think that's what we Africans have to understand. We have to understand that everything, look at pride, look at peace. Peace is the most expensive topic to talk us the second frequencies are always talking us on it. And you can imagine how crazy, even when they use weapons to be able to bring peace. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how insane these
Mm-hmm.
things are. But we buy
Absolutely.
all the theories, we buy into them, we fund them, we promote them, we wave for them, we clap for them and say, yes, they are doing fine. No, we have to go back, because any penny that you put into that for destruction, you're already part of it. And you imagine why we're
Absolutely.
stuck where we're stuck. Now, that brings me to a topic of our conflicts on the continent and even in our circles. How much energy we buy the toxics to kill, to condemn ourselves, and to divide ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That we
Mm-hmm.
have to push and go back to the healing board and going back to the first frequencies to say, this is not us.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. But if you come with first sight consciousness, you will be able to know what to do, and be able to develop that first frequency intuition that will be able to run your life and change your reality.
Mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
And understand that, you know, they are, and I'll talk about this when I come back even more in depth, but second frequency is terrified of what's called genetic annihilation or extinction.
mm,
We, Black people, are just afraid of death. We've been taught to be afraid of death, which there is no fear in death, because we don't die, we multiply. But
that's it.
there's a difference in mentality when you think that a group is going to go extinct versus a group that's just going to die. So you
Mm,
have to understand that we're up against a group that is fighting against their extinction, their reason to exist. Nature has been trying to kill them since they came out of the caves. And so everything that they do is to get us under their spell, captured, corralled, and control, so that we feed them. The moment that we no longer feed them in consciousness, they then also begin to die off. Because we don't die, we multiply, but they are going extinct because they're not a natural occurrence of nature. And I know that sounds harsh, but it has nothing to do with us. We were interrupted. We were disrupted. We are making a choice now not to be disrupted and interrupted, and to go back to our first frequency, because we have gone through so much damage as a result of trying to make this relationship work, that it is not working, that the closer I get to whiteness, the more harm becomes of me. So in a very real sense, this is whiteness is an environmental trauma. It's an environmental toxin. We're not worried about, quote unquote, a virus. We're worried about the white virus. We're worried about the original virus that has been interrupting us and disrupting us, and we're done. This is it. This is the game changer. It's over. Once
mm,
we understand how to capture their language, their memetics, and use it on our behalf to protect ourselves from them, it's game over. Game over.
Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
Thank you so much, Baba. I think no matter what we do, no matter how much we stay here, we can say, you know, how much we used to bun this thing to 3, 4 hours, and like,
Yes, yes, I
when in the
do.
moment when we started. And I really want to congratulate you, Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock. I mean, for those of you that just subscribe, I know that you're subscribing now more often than before, and we are really rising to the space where we belong, to begin to connect and to share with one another. Like I said, I think 50,000 subscribers did not know Reverend Dr. Philippe Shock, because when you were here, we were still in around our 40,000 subscribers. You can remember when you
Mm-hmm.
said, why is this platform so slow in growing? I mean, we should have been hitting 1 million subscribers by now. And we said, it is not the numbers that always matter. It is the intentions and the spirit.
Yes,
We
yes.
are good and fine. We are not here trying to harvest subscribers. No, we are not here. We even beg people who think it was a mistake to be here to unsubscribe. So it is not the war of how many subscribers, how many people. It is the fine of the finest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so this fine of the finest is the numbers that we're looking to be able now to multiply and to spread it. Once we get this fine thought, this ones that polish the brains and we brain elevate them to the first frequency, it is easy to just spread it, the virus of the first frequency, to all of us. And that would be more easier than getting 1 million that are just there and don't even know why they are there.
Very
Okay.
true. Very
Yeah.
true.
So for us, quality here really matters. I'm just talking to most of you. If this is your first time of watching Reverend Dr. Mathews, please can you tell them that you're also doing your show on the Philippe Matthews show? I don't know if you're still doing it. Or how
Yeah.
can they consider to?
Well, we do
Yes.
it every week. Again, you can go to nothingiswrongwithblackpeople.com. I do a lecture every Sunday, teaching ministry on how to invoke and obtain first frequency and first sight consciousness. Talk a lot about trauma and the different types of trauma that we're dealing with, which I'll be bringing to this platform again as well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can go to our Patreon. That's where we go in and take deep dives, and we have actual conversations with our community. And we're going to be doing some special events with our Patreon community at patreon.com/RevShock. But yeah, go to www.nothingiswrongwithblackpeople.com and get the information. And then Dr. Tatah and I will figure out when I will be returning and how I will be returning to this amazing platform.
All right, that's fine. And please do consider to subscribe. And we are asking all our guests and speakers to become our member on our YouTube. We don't have a Patreon where people can support us or something like that. So we just go with a YouTube membership. And you would someone like you, we're not asking you to consider you're a member, a full-time member. And with the work that we do, all of us putting in the energy and the effort and to keep our platforms really sustainable, I mean, from us to us, and to be able to level up, to continue to do what we're doing. We do call upon you that are watching us, this global family, please to become a member. Become a member. Become a member. If you are already on the other side, on the first frequency, it is the next level is to bring the others on board. And your
Absolutely.
contribution, your membership, whether you're subscribing, whether you're clicking, whether you're sharing, whether you're singing and telling the good story of the Pan-African Daily TV, to everyone, to your community to subscribe. But like I said, it's a consultation that we'll be doing on the Pan-African. The ones that are already in the black room, and then the ones that are still in the waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing that we're doing with the lecture. So if you're here for the first time, please don't worry about maybe terms and concepts and stories and words, even from our chat members, that may scare you and like, oh, I don't get it. No, just wait in our consultation room, in the waiting room. And as you begin to evolve, you just find your space in the black room. So don't be scared. I know a lot of people come here, they show their face and they're like, oh, this is not for me. Because maybe in one way or the other, they think that we are entertainers here. Rev Shock, are we entertaining here?
Nope, we don't do entertainment. We do entrainment, brain entrainment. We change the neurobiology of the African back to its original self and place.
Ashe, thank you so much for that affirmation again. And like I tell everybody, this is not an entertainment platform. If you're looking for other platforms where, of course, we have our events, we have our festivals where we do our cultural dance and we melt together, we do our libations together. I mean, Germany this year is going to be the one step again going back into the Sankofa of how we celebrate our festivals and our cultures. Because I think just like what you were saying again, and we need to do a conversation on your platform also on that. What is the new strategy of how we celebrate ourselves as the first frequencies?
Absolutely.
Because we've been doing it wrong all the time. We've been using structures and certain patterns, and even the setup that we set up, our space when we say we are gathering to celebrate our culture, our values, we still operate on the second agendas on the second frequency. So I think Tübingen, Germany this year is the first renaissance, or we say we're going back to Sankofa in Alkebulan, where we really want to celebrate our culture and our values the way we did in ancient Egypt. Even though we might have, put a little bit of taste, but it has to go back to that for us to be able to find ourselves again.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. One last word that we want to hear before we leave you. We have 3 minutes to go.
Well, whatever it is that you have been struggling with, whatever it is that you have been feeling, unworthy and not good enough, know that that's a lie. And whatever it is that you want to manifest, whatever reality you want to acquire, there's a quote that says, in order to acquire something that you've never had, you must become someone that you've never been. Well, in a very real sense, when we become and go into our first frequency selves, we're becoming the person that we've always meant to be. We were born Amas. We were born Ama in expression. We were taught how to be Negroes, how to be all of the N words and all of the lower words and epithets that they use. Ama does not make, pardon my French, bitches and hoes and baby mamas and baby daddies. That's white man made. We are Ama made. So whatever it is that you want to manifest as your reality, and however you wish to live as first frequency, don't give up, don't let up, and don't shut up until Ama takes you up.
Whoo. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Thank you very much, Reverend. We would connect in the Black Room later on, and then we put the project of the detoxification, and then we take over the next lectures. Is that fair?
Fantastic. You want me to wait in the room, or you want me to wait or just get off and then we'll do our WhatsApp?
Yes, we'll do a WhatsApp.
Fantastic. Love you, goddess. Love you, family.
Thank you so very much, and we see us shortly. Bye. Thank you. I just wanted to get these 2 precious moments with us privately, with my family, with you on one-on-one to tell you as something that I experienced during this weekend at the Black Excellence Conference. And it is something that we have to carry on. Like I say, be in that moment. Most of us are still very distant from ourselves, even though we preach the Black love, even though we preach our awareness, but we still don't know how do I want to say, when we meet, we're still shocked that we still want to know. We still try to keep our habit of, no, I don't want a close distance. Oh, I don't want you this. And I saw that a little bit, the distance between us. Now, I would appreciate us to do one thing. When you see your brother, your sister that looks like you, don't be afraid. We are not viruses. We are the good version of it. Do not be scared. All right? Because that is the point where they get at us. And we start acting the same. The distrust, the distance between us, that we cannot connect. the fear of, oh, I don't know him, I don't know her. Just open your arms and embrace one another. Nothing is going to happen. On the contrary, the melanin will recognize each other. The DNA would recognize each other. You keep going on and saying we are doing our DNAs, we are taking our tests and stuff like that. I did a symbol at the Black Excellence. Very few people understood that. And I will show it to you when I go through the documentaries. The documentaries for me is taking each picture of whom we met, just a few of them, not all, because it was so massive. And I explain it. The purpose of embrace according to our African traditions and our ancient is very unique. We see it in most, even in religious setup, when they finish the assemblies and they hug each other. These are all our rituals that we're taking away from us. So the question is, how do we become now afraid of each other and we have a distance between us? What is it that break us? What is it that pull that boundaries? What is it that make me know you am scared to embrace you? So the touchy has been, transformed in a psyche as something that is toxic. Oh, if I don't know you, then I can't even give you a handshake. No, that is wrong. That is false. But when you see the people that were already, the first frequencies, we just melted. And you could select and you could see. But I still had some questions like, oh, can I hug you? Can I take a picture with, even just to take a picture? These questions are the words that have been brought to separate us. And while we preach our unity and we're not able to merge, we're not able to touch our hands, we're not able to connect and feel the warmth among us, to feel our heartbeat, then something is still wrong. But nothing is wrong with us, just something happened with us. These are the special moments that I wanted to actually share with you, those of you that were not there and those of you that saw some symbols. Like I said, everything is a sign and a symbol. And Alma gave us all the symbols. Who is my sister? Who is my brother? Who is my son? Who is my daughter? And how do I react when I see them? You understand? But when they taught you that those things, oh, you could get a disease. Oh, I don't know them. Oh, the energies. Of course, the energies are very important. But when we meet in that space where we are queens and kings and royals, I can guarantee you there is nothing negative in it. They are just still the ones that have not risen up to the level that we are. And so those ones are the ones that we still try to curate them and bring them into a circle to elevate them. But I'm so happy that I was at that point and I saw and I watch it and I like, yes, we have work to do. We still have a lot work to do. But this is the beginning and this is the start. And again, I want to exceptionally thank Felicia Harden and Brother Tagi. I just learned and I saw my WhatsApp say he has a birthday today. So us on the Pan-African Daily, we wish you a happy birthday, Tagi Gran. Happy birthday to you. We wish you all the blessings, all the power, all the energy, anything that you gave out during the Black Excellence Conference in terms of work, in terms of energy. May it come back in multiple flows to heal you, to uplift you, to empower you. On behalf of the Pan-African Daily TV and all our viewers and the continent and the diaspora, we empower you on this Earth Day of yours with love, peace, happiness, and blessings. Thank you so very much. And the woman that God has put on this movement to help you, the sister, the queen, the goddess, Felicia Harden, it is just the right time. Nothing is happening that is a coincidence. Okay. So we love you out here. We appreciate you. And we thank you for continuing to create those spaces of power and unity, because our unity is love. So I thank you. We are going to be having a guest tomorrow, like I said. We have been missing the whole week. We're going to be streaming. We're also going to be having our youth executive meetings live all right, on our platforms here. If you want to join, if you see us go live and you just want to be a part of that meetings, please just go. We don't have any boundaries. We're not accepting people to come in or not coming. If you just feel the spirit to coming and join us on the young executive meeting, we'll be sharing the link to you if we're going to be doing it on Zoom or we're going to be doing it live, so you can join us and bring your experiences and how we can help to direct our young people on the continent and in the diaspora to connect them. So I begin to suspect, because we've been pushing this young executive meeting because of the Black Excellence Conference. We had to suspend a lot of conversations on our event here. But now that we are over it, we'll just do a review about it and then move forward to the next event and happenings that will be coming up. Okay. So watch out for tomorrow. Who would be our guest and what will be the topic? Tomorrow is just going to be on the review. I'm trying to see if I'm going to get Baba Smalls and on impressions of the Black Excellence, and we will begin to come up with a lot. But I met this wonderful brother and this here that I'm having in my hand. This is a video, and when he comes up on the show, then we'll be able to talk about this. It is called Out of Darkness, Heavy is the Crown, Volume 1. It's a production from our brother Amadeus Christ, and the Happy Excellence. We're already talking about her, but I met her in person and I was so carried away. If you want to understand the concept of the origins, exactly just what our Reverend is telling us, he breaks it down in this movie, and he'll be able to share this context with us. And they are all happy to be on board with us to take our questions. And I also meet my sister Aguila. She's also here in the chat. A powerful radio, a radio, a radio host and founder. Oh my God! I mean, when I saw her, it was just like, yes, this is it. You could see the melanin. Some people, Amma just gave it too much to them. Some of us, it was just a patchwork in between. So yes, I mean, we're going to be getting really some of the speakers and the whole entire crew, Brother Charles, Sister Kahlia, all of that manpower that actually embodied us. And then our visit to Baba Leonard Jeffries and who he is and how he received us, and the greetings from the continent and the back from the I mean, it's explosive. It's not just a one thing that we're gonna do here. Yeah. So I thank you so very, very much. We're going to stay on this movement. We're going to stay in the spirit, and please don't flinch. When I say don't flinch, it's like don't even think of going back, because we carry you along. All right. So we see us. Greetings to all of you, Hotep. Stay on the frequency, on the first frequency. Stay on it. Do not even think. All right. So we all say happy birthday to our target grant, and we love all of you. We're going to be sharing everything together with you as it went and how the future of our events should look like. Did I forget anything? Did I forget anything? Did I forget anything? I don't think so. And if I did forget, I'll be bringing it up. Most of you that we are connected in the community chat group, that's also one thing that I wanted to. Kwame is there, Kojo is there. I don't know if Synovia, Cheryl, and all of you, Kofi, NS Parker, please make sure you are in the community chat group, because you are the community. You are this global family that we're making all this happen together. And so most of the time, if we're not live, we share a lot of content there. Your feedbacks are amazing. And I'm telling you, the community is so active, more than even the lives. Honestly, look at just but in the community, we deal more just with the captions. We only caption the image and we put a caption on it, and you see people throw in. And one caption alone is taking us to already 1,000K in just a couple of days or minutes, which is what we struggle to having here with our lives. Okay. So yes, much love to all of you, Ayoka Efwa, Nkwame, all of you, Synovia, Cheryl, Ennis, Mr. Brown, Sister Ayola, and all of you that are watching me. Please, if I didn't give out a shout out to you, just know I know you, I see you. Most of you, I cannot read your chats here because of the interruption. Now you see first frequency. You can already know the difference from how we are interrupted from the Pan-African Daily, and you can understand that. So good night to all of us. I hope that our intro would play. Please bear with me if it doesn't. That is exactly what we're talking about. Interruption at first frequencies. Okay. Thank you also. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your concerns, and particularly the pictures and the images that all of you. One last thing. Oh, I'm sorry. If you took a picture with Dr. Susan Tatah at the Black Excellence, our sister Kaliha has created a WhatsApp group where you can drop all those images there. It is truly not about me, but it's truly about the people that we connected, and we had those images together to talk about their stories. So if you really took a picture with me exceptionally, it is because you had a story to tell. And we want to get all those pictures, put it into that album, and we can get you to tell our stories, or your story and your experiences on the Pan-African Daily TV. And we're creating a special video or picture slideshow on the Pan-African Daily TV website, where you can access it to just go through that. But we'll also be uploading that videos here. I'm just struggling to wind time and to get our intro, which is really, really difficult. It's not even loading. You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.